Alright, hello and welcome to another quick discussion-y thingy. I'm gonna try to do more of these, which will be good for people in the comments apparently, but that's a subject for a different day. What am I doing with my life? But anyway, today I wanted to talk about recovery cards. Now this is an interesting topic, and there are cards that let you get back into the game when you're behind, but there's some inherently weird things, weird characteristics that come with these cards. Now obviously the basis of it is it's a card that has to, get you back into the game somehow, whether it's, destroying cards in your opponent's field, adding cards to your hand, something of that nature. But the inherent thing that's wrong with those cards is they're only good if you're behind. You're basically putting cards in your deck planning on being behind or planning on losing the game, and that's what's inherently kind of wrong with them and why we don't see that many. So for a recovery card to really be played, it has to be one of two things pretty much. It has to either be easily accessible or extremely broken. It just has to be a complete blowout. A card that's a good example of being a straight up blowout is Evenly Matched. As we all know, the name's very ironic because it creates an inherent imbalance, and that's one of the ones that went from recovery to less of recovery and more of just being way too overpowered. Because sure, it gives you an even number of cards on the field, but then one player might have one or two cards in hand to the other player's 5 cards in hand. So it completely shifts the balance and instead of balancing the game, it just unbalances it in another way. And this is the card they decided to name Evenly Matched. Now, for a card that's easily accessible but not super broken, we have Bagooska. Now, I don't like Bagooska in the fact that you can use him turn 1. I think that's inherently kind of something that takes the card from a recovery card into like a stall card or just overall annoying card, but we'll actually talk more on that a little bit later. But Bagooska is an example of something accessible. It's in the extra deck, it's a rank 4, which is the most common pool. It's something you don't have to run in your main deck, it's just one card in your extra deck, so you're not planning on losing, you just have it in case, and it's pretty much, accessible anytime you need it. So I think that's, a good example of how things could be done, except again, they kind of gave him the dual purpose of not only recovery, but also, just letting you stall out turn 1. And obviously it works as recovery in the fact that it lets you build up resources again, but it also does the same for your opponent, so really neither of you are doing anything, but you have the decision of when to turn it off, so it kind of lets you try to sway things back in your favor, and that's why I think it could be used pretty decently as a recovery card. And of course, there has to be something that's both, and for an example of something that has both, we have Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, because holy fucking shit. Now the card is obviously banned for a reason. I mean, you could argue that it's banned, obviously to sell some newer cards like Evenly Matched, things like that. Despite the timing of the hit, there are always reasons like that in this game. It's Konami. But Exciton is just inherently, he's easily accessible, the same reason as Bagooska is, but he can be a complete blowout. Again, if your opponent puts everything onto the field, you can just summon Exciton and you get rewarded for losing the game. So he's one of the ones that went, he's easily accessible, he's super broken, he has it all, he does everything, and he's, again, kind of like evenly matched, except you don't even have to draw into him. He just gives it all to you. It'd be nice to see a card that is just, solely recovery, is something that's just straight up recovery. If they made more cards like that, especially they had to be, I think, easily accessible. Obviously, if instead of being broken, if they were easily accessible, that'd be a lot better. So extract monsters. And again, I think we're gonna go back to Bagooska because I think he could have been this. If there was just a little clause in that card that said, this card can only be summoned during main phase 2, it would make it so much better because that would stop turn 1, Pen Magicians, another deck's just going Bagooska, and it would make it more of like a, turn 2, turn 3 or 4, something like that, where you're like, shit, I can't get over this right now, I'm gonna lose next turn, I could make Baguska, you know, use up some resources to make it, but you get those resources back in the following turns. You know, but your opponent's also doing the same, so it slows the game down a bit, gives you time to recover, to think out a plan, but your opponent's also getting the same thing. Again, you just have the, you get to choose when it turns off. So I think if there was a card like Baguska that just said only during main phase 2, that would actually be the perfect card, and it would be a very, very good balance. And probably, you know, the best and most played recovery card, just straight up recovery card, not fucking evenly matched or something. But anyway, that was just a quick little topic I wanted to address here. I'm gonna see how long this is gonna be. Okay, it's professionally looked into the camera there to see how long this would be. I'm good at what I do. But anyway, I'll go ahead and call this one here, as I'm already starting to ramble, as I say in every single video, because it's very true. But anyway, I'll have a link to my Discord down in the description. You gotta have the YouTuber point. Did I say link in the description to my, I don't know if I just said link or if I actually said the Discord. Link in the description to my Discord, cool place to chill, hang out, talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, among other things. I say this in every single video. I also have a Patreon. People who support me on Patreon will get extra duels that don't make it into the worst deck of all time, and deck profiles. That's not like, you know, any extra content I'm making. That's just stuff I had anyway that I figured would get to people who support me. But don't worry, none of the usual content will be gated off. If you, you know, if you can't give anything, it's cool. I understand. I'm a broke college student. I get it. But if you have a little extra to give, it would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.